Okay, in this video, we're just going to look at how to use Quick Mask with your Quick Selection tool, just to help you to refine your selection a little bit better. Again, most of the time you don't need this, but sometimes you might be using a Quick Selection tool and find that you've missed a little piece and it just gets a little bit complicated. And you can see by using the paintbrush and the Quick Selection mask that you can fine tune your selections a little bit easier, I think. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to bring in a picture into this document, and I'll just do that right now. So I'm just going to open up a picture. The picture we're going to use here is this picture. It just shows the Montreal Canadiens caricature, and we're going to bring that in here. So again, when we open this up, we want to be able to import it into our document. So we're just going to grab this, drag it down. Oh, actually, we need to have the move tool on to make that work. And then just bring this over to the document. You can see it's way too big right now, so we're just going to Command T this right now and move this over and grab these. And just by holding down Shift and Option or Shift Control on the PC, we're just going to drag in the corner, preserving the ratio by doing that. And we'll just continue to do this until we just get it to a size that we like. And of course, there's other tools that will do this for us, but I'm just going to use this one right now. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I get something I like that I can play with. Let's go a little bit smaller here. And again, if you lost your ratio, you could click on this button up here to get it back to the original image as well. Okay, so that's not too bad. So we'll just click OK or the check mark here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a quick selection. So we'll just pull up the quick selection tool. And we'll just come in here right now. And we'll just start to make a quick selection. Now, I'm just going to kind of work down the object. And let's see how we did here. Okay, come in here, grab that. And again, a lot of times what's nice here is if you've missed something, you can come back in and clean things up. Now that's a pretty good selection, but I actually left out a couple of things on purpose, but sometimes it happens in the process selecting where you'll leave something out. So what we're going to do right now is use the Quick Mask button over here and go into Quick Mask mode. Now when you do that, notice that you get all this red that's popped up. Now what we can do now is using our brush tool, we could actually paint in more of our selection. And again, the stuff that's red is the stuff that'll be masked out. We won't see that. And the stuff that's not red is the stuff that we're going to see, the stuff we're selecting. So if we paint with our white foreground color here, and we'll just make this brush a little bit bigger here, you can see that, for example, I missed this little spot right here. So I'm just going to Command plus here just to get in a little bit. And I didn't, this part here should not be selected. So if I paint that right now with my paintbrush, you can see here that, and I'll just make my brush a little smaller, and I'm going to have to change my foreground color to black here, which means I'm now going to paint away that section, thereby removing my selection. And again, this part here, I'm just going to, and you can get really precise here with this tool. And I'll just paint in red where I don't want things selected. And I'll just see if I've selected anything else that I don't want selected. All right, so I'm just going to come in here, refine that a little bit, clean that up a little bit. And that looks pretty good for this selection. Now you can see over here I haven't selected this whole section, so I'm going to just switch my foreground and background colors, and I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to make this a little bit more zoomed here, and just using my brush right now with foreground to white, I'm just going to come in here now and paint this. And what I'm doing is I'm painting in my selection so that it'll select this part of the picture as well. Okay, so that's pretty good. And I've noticed something else here, that this whole piece here of the Montreal Canadiens emblem has not been selected. I must have missed that in my initial selection. So I'm just going to go a little bit bigger brush here by using the right bracket button, and I'm just going to paint this in here. My opacity is at 100%, so I'm catching all of it. I'm just going to paint in this whole section that I missed. I'm just going to go a little bit outside in case I miss something else here. Now what I'll do to be a little bit more precise is just make my brush a little bit smaller here and just come in here and paint down this line. And that'll clean it up nice. And just come down here in case I miss something. And of course, there's other ways we could have done this, but I just want to show you this method of selecting. Now let's just zoom out now a little bit and see how we did. And it looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to exit quick mask mode just by clicking on it again, and now you see that the marching ants have come up and I've made a selection. And just to test this selection, what I'm going to do now, and I just like to use layer masks instead of control, edit, copy, paste. I mean, you can do both. It just depends on what your preference is. I find when you make a mask, you have some more options, and it's a little easier in terms of not being as destructive. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm just going to, now that I've got a selection, I'm just going to click on my add a layer mask, and now you can see that you get that image, and we can look at it on top of white just to see what it looks like. Not too bad. And we can look at it on top of black. Not too bad. Now you notice here on top of black that it looks like we could do a little bit more work here in terms of cleaning up some of these edges. And so there's a couple things to do here. One of the things that might work a little bit better for us is just to refine the selection as well, or to refine the mask. And we'll cover refining edges and masks in the next tutorial.